Conservation of plants and animals. Plants and animals are our living natural resources. There are millions of plants and animals on the earth. New species are continuously being discovered and many are not yet discovered. The diverse variety of living things also helps to maintain our environment in good working condition. We have an idea about different habitats of living things such as water, forests, deserts, rivers, streams, ponds, seas, and oceans. They adapt themselves according to their habitat to survive in unfavorable conditions. What is conservation? The wise and judicious use of natural resource is called conservation of resources. This approach of using natural resources would ensure that resources are available for future generations as well, and their overuse or wastage of resources must be avoided. Conservation has two main aspects: to ensure the continuous availability of useful plants, animals, and materials for future generations, to preserve the quality of the environment. Biodiversity. Biodiversity means all living forms, that is, plants, animals, human beings, microorganisms, and their interrelationships on the earth. It is the natural wealth of our planet. Plants, animals, humans, and microorganisms inhabit various parts of the earth. They are dependent on each other for their survival and growth. It takes millions of years to maintain a constant population of biodiversity on the earth. Some parts of the earth are rich in plants and animals, and some parts have very less living things. Importance of biodiversity. Biodiversity is also important in the many ways. It helps to regulate climate, rainfall, and wind. It purifies air and water. Biodiversity helps in cycling of nutrients. It helps to preserve soil fertility. It forms food chains and food webs to maintain a balance in the availability of food to all the life forms. Causes of loss of biodiversity. Some of the major causes that threaten the existence of plants and animals on Earth are: due to overpopulation and to meet the requirements, a large number of trees are being cut. The land is cleared for industries and construction work. Overgrazing by increasing population of animals also leads to loss of biodiversity. The excessive discharge of solid liquid and gaseous wastes from houses, fields, and industries has caused pollution of soil, water, and air. This has led to the loss of biodiversity. Due to deforestation, industrialization, construction of dams, and natural disasters such as earthquakes, floods, droughts, and cyclones, a large number of habitats of living organisms have been destroyed. This has resulted in loss of biodiversity. Animals are killed for their meat, skin, and other useful body parts, leading to reduction in their numbers. Deforestation and its causes. The deforestation or cutting of trees is a major threat to the existence of plants and animals, biodiversity on the earth. These plants and animals are essential for the survival and well-being of mankind. As the human population increased, the demand for houses, food, and other products has increased. Deforestation also occurs naturally due to forest fires, earthquakes, severe droughts, and floods. The trees are cut by human beings for the many purposes. Some of them are construction of houses and industries, clearing land for agricultural purposes, using wool as fuel, using wood to make paper, furniture, and other things. Effects of deforestation. The excessive cutting of trees leads to severe threat to the survival of living things on the earth. The balance of resources on the earth gets disturbed and creates many problems. The consequences of deforestation are Loss of habitat of animals. Deforestation causes destruction of the habitats of wild animals. The animal and plant species get endangered and finally get extinct. An endangered species is a population of organisms which is at risk of extinction. The species which do not exist on the earth now are called extinct species. Thus, due to destruction of forests, some valuable plants and animal species get finally disappeared from the earth. Desertification of land. Deforestation is a major cause of change in soil properties like nutrients, texture, etc. The physical properties of the soil get affected by plantation and vegetation. Less trees result in more soil erosion. The removal of the top layer of the soil exposes the lower, hard, and rocky layers. This soil has less humus and is less fertile. Gradually, the fertile land gets converted into deserts. This leads to the formation of deserts, and the process is called desertification. Occurrence of flood. Deforestation leads to decrease in water holding capacity of the soil. The movement of water from the soil surface into the ground is reduced. The excessive cutting of trees creates the conditions of flood. In the absence of trees, the water holding capacity of the soil decreases. The water does not percolate into the earth from the soil surface. As a result, water flows as surface runoff and floods occur. Global warming. The trees release water vapor into the atmosphere by the process of transpiration. This creates cooling effect in the surrounding area. The fewer trees will cause less transpiration and rising of the temperature of the atmosphere. This rise of temperature due to deforestation may be one of the many causes of global warming. Droughts. If trees are cut, there will be less absorption of carbon dioxide gas and the temperature will be increased. This increased temperature disturbs the water cycle, which may reduce rainfall. This creates the conditions of drought. Thus, the drought is a condition where severe shortage of water occurs on the earth and there will be no growth of plants. As a result, animals do not get food. Shortage of forest products. Forests are a source of many useful products of our everyday life. Due to deforestation, there will be shortage of the forest products. Some steps to reduce deforestation. There are some important steps which can be taken to prevent the deforestation. Recycling of paper. Paper is made by using pulp of the wood. For that, a large number of trees are cut to make sufficient amount of paper by the paper industries. Paper is required to make posters, notebooks, books, newspapers, cardboard boxes, magazines, and the list is very long. At individual level, we can save paper by not wasting it unnecessarily. We can avoid waste of paper by making best use of our notebooks and books. Many waste paper products can be recycled to get recycled paper. Recycling of paper is the process by which old paper, newspaper, etc. are turned into new reusable paper products. It is a less energy-consuming process compared to manufacture of new paper. The paper items which can be recycled are newspaper, books, notebooks, diaries, calendars, cardboards, magazines, computer paper and envelopes, etc. By this way, we not only save trees but also save energy, water and chemicals required in the paper making process. Reforestation. Reforestation is the restocking of destroyed forest by planting new trees in the deforested area. The problem of deforestation can be reversed by reforestation. The planted trees should be of the same species which were found originally in the destroyed forest. Restoration also occurs naturally. If the deforested land is left undisturbed for some time, it re-establishes itself. Human beings do not play any role in natural reforestation. However, we have destroyed our forests in such a speed that just depending on natural reforestation is not a solution of this problem. So, we must plant maximum trees in our nearby forests and surroundings. The government launches several programs of tree plantation time to time. It is the duty of every citizen of the country to participate in these programs so that we can retain and save our green wealth. The Forest Conservation Act of our country aims to preserve and conserve natural forests and meeting of the basic needs of the people living in or near the forests. One Mahotsav. One Mahotsav is a program of planting saplings of different species of trees. Lakhs of saplings are planted with the involvement of Forest Department throughout the country in the first week of July every year. Conservation of forest and wildlife. Considering how severe the consequences of deforestation are, it has become essential to conserve the forests. The first step to save the forests is to conserve them. Conservation of forest means saving forests from deforestation. Several conservation practices are started all over the world to protect the valuable plant and animal species from extinction. Our government has also made some rules, methods and policies for conservation of plants and animals. Some areas like Biosphere Reserves, national parks and wildlife sanctuaries are declared as protected areas. Biosphere Reserves. Biosphere reserves are large protected lands for the conservation of wildlife, plant and animal resources. These reserves help to maintain the biodiversity and culture of that area. It may also include other protected areas in it. For example, the Panchamarahi Biosphere Reserve consists of one national park named as Satpura and two wildlife sanctuaries named Bori and Panchamarahi. In biosphere reserves, the people are allowed to interact with nature without disrupting the conservation goals. In these areas, conservation of plants and animals is supported by scientific ideas and applying strict rules. Endemic species. Endemic species are those species of plants and animals which are only found in a particular area. They are not found in other places. For example, sal and wild mango are two endemic flora of Panchamarahi Biosphere Reserve. Some endemic fauna of this area are bison, Indian giant squirrel and flying squirrel. Asiatic lion is endemic to Gir National Park, Gujarat. Destruction of habitat, increasing population and introduction of new species may affect the natural habitat of endemic species and endanger their survival. National Park. National parks are the protected areas which provide protection to the flora, fauna, landscape and historic objects of an area. These areas are reserved for wildlife where they can freely use the habitats and natural resources. In India, there are 80 national parks. Satpura National Park is the first reserve forest of the India. The finest Indian teak is found in this forest. Satpura Tiger Reserve is famous for Project Tiger launched by the government to protect the tigers in the country. The objective of this project was to ensure the protection and maintenance of tiger population. Tiger population in our country is slowly decreasing, but due to this project there is significant increase in the population of tigers. Once, some other common animals of Satpura National Park were lions, elephants, wild buffaloes and barasingha, but the number of these animals is also decreasing. The animals are now in the category of endangered animals. Animals whose population is diminishing to a level that they might face extinction are known as the endangered animals. Wildlife Sanctuary. Wildlife sanctuaries are protected areas reserved for animals to freely use their habitats and natural resources. These areas provide protection and suitable living conditions to wild animals. There are 441 wildlife sanctuaries in India at present. Our wildlife sanctuaries protect and preserve some threatened species like black buck, white-eyed buck, elephant, golden cat, pink-headed duck, marsh crocodile, python, rhinoceros, etc. In wildlife sanctuaries, protection is given only to animal life, while in national parks, both flora, plants, and fauna animals are protected. Many vulnerable, endangered, and threatened species inhabit these parks and sanctuaries. They have great importance in the development of our country. These attract tourists, conserve natural resources, and prevent soil erosion. Cutting trees and hunting animals is totally banned in these protected areas. Red Data Book. Red Data Book is the source which keeps a record of all the endangered animals and plants. There are different Red Data Books for plants, animals, and other species. The International Union for Conservation of Nature and Natural Resources, IUCN, publishes the Red Data Book, which lists rare species and those in danger of extinction. Migration. Migration is a seasonal movement of animals to avoid unfavorable conditions in their natural habitat. It occurs by moving from one area to another and then back again. Although it occurs in a wide range of animals, but the birds are common examples which show migration. The birds which migrate from one region to another region to avoid hard conditions of climate are called migratory birds. For example, Siberian crane migrates from Siberia to India in groups during winter to avoid extreme cold weather of Siberia. There are many such examples of migratory birds which come to India from other countries in winter. The main reasons of migration are to avoid harsh weather, to get food and water easily, to reproduce and take off their offspring,